A former slot technician just revealed something that could completely change how you think about using your player's card at casinos. And what these insiders are saying will shock you. According to multiple former employees, casinos aren't just tracking your play, they're actively punishing players who use strategies that give them any kind of edge. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was a regular at a mid sized casino in Nevada, and he'd figured out a system that seemed to be working. Marcus would carefully track his bankroll, always betting maximum coins on high volatility machines, and he'd managed to hit 3 hand-pay jackpots over the course of about 6 weeks. Nothing massive. We're talking wins between $3 and $5,000 each time, but consistent enough that the casino noticed. After his third hand pay, a floor manager approached him with a smile and upgraded his player's card to VIP status on the spot. Free rooms, meal comps, priority seating at shows, Marcus thought he'd made it. He thought the casino was rewarding his loyalty. What happened next is where this gets disturbing. According to documentation from former casino employees, Marcus's wins essentially stopped. Not slowed down, stopped. He continued playing the exact same machines, using the exact same betting patterns that had produced those hand pays. But over the next 2 months, he didn't hit a single significant bonus round. Former slot technicians report that this wasn't a coincidence. Internal casino management systems actively flag players who demonstrate what they call optimal play patterns. These are players who max bet consistently, who understand volatility, who play machines with the best mathematical odds. Here's what makes this so insidious. Based on testimony from multiple former employees, modern slot systems can categorize players into risk tiers the moment you insert your player's card. The system analyzes your betting history, your win-loss ratio, how long you play, which games you choose, everything. And according to these insiders, machines can operate at different RTP percentages depending on which tier you're in. Carded play versus uncarded play, casual player versus educated player, winner versus loser. The casino knows which category you fall into within minutes of you sitting down. If you think using your player's card gets you better odds because of the comps and rewards, what I'm about to tell you will completely shatter that illusion. And this is just the beginning. Wait until you hear about what happens when you try changing denominations. But Marcus's story isn't even the most disturbing pattern these former technicians have revealed. There's something else casinos are tracking, and this one hits anyone who thinks they're being smart about bankroll management. Let me tell you about Jennifer. She was a school teacher from Ohio who'd saved up about $800 for a weekend gambling trip. Jennifer wasn't reckless. She started on penny slots, playing carefully, building her bankroll slowly. Over the course of about 4 hours, she'd turned that $800 into nearly $2,000. Feeling confident, she decided to move up. She took her player's card out of the penny machine, walked across the casino floor, and inserted it into a dollar denomination version of the same exact game. According to former slot technicians, that's when the system flagged her account. Here's what these insiders claim happens when you switch denominations after building a bankroll. The casino management system doesn't just notice, it responds. Former employees report that machines are programmed to reset bonus cycles when they detect a denomination increase on the same player card. The technical term they used was a cold cycle protocol, based on testimony from multiple technicians. This cold cycle can last anywhere from 45 to 90 spins, during which bonus trigger frequency is significantly reduced. Jennifer experienced this firsthand. She burned through $600 on that dollar machine without hitting a single bonus round. You thought you were being smart, playing low until you built up enough to play higher denominations. But the casino was 3 steps ahead, and the tracking system treated your intelligent bankroll management as a threat. Internal reports from casino management systems allegedly identify these players as bankroll builders, customers who demonstrate patience and mathematical thinking rather than impulsive betting. And according to these former employees, that's exactly the kind of player casinos want to discourage. But it gets worse. There's another pattern the systems track, and this one punishes responsible gambling behavior. A former technician told the story of Robert, a regular player who had a simple rule. Whenever he doubled his starting bankroll, he'd cash out and leave. Seems reasonable, right? Win a little, walk away, come back another day. Except Robert noticed that his winning sessions were getting shorter and shorter. What used to take 2 hours was suddenly taking 5, then 8. Former casino employees report that management systems track your average session length per visit. They know how long you typically play. They know when you usually quit. And here's the truly sinister part. According to these insiders, players who demonstrate short winning sessions get placed on what's internally called a tightened payout schedule. The documentation these former employees reference describes something called win limit triggers built directly into player tracking software. The system allegedly identifies hit and run players, their terminology, not mine, and adjusts the machines accordingly. Robert was being punished for doing exactly what every gambling expert tells you to do: quit while you're ahead. The irony is devastating. Responsible gambling behavior gets flagged as advantage play. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear what happens when you follow any kind of betting system. What I am about to reveal next shows just how sophisticated these tracking algorithms have become. But the surveillance systems go even deeper than tracking your sessions or denomination switches. Former casino employees describe something that sounds almost like science fiction, but according to their testimony, it's happening right now on casino floors across the country. Let me tell you about Kevin. He wasn't a professional gambler, just an accountant from Michigan who liked playing slots on weekends. But Kevin had done his homework. He'd read about betting systems, particularly the martingale strategy, doubling your bet after every loss until you win. Kevin figured he'd apply this to slot machines. He'd start at 50 cents, and if he lost several spins in a row, he'd bump to $1, then $2, then $5. When he'd hit a win, he'd reset back to 50 cents and start the pattern over. For about 3 weeks, this approach seemed to be working, not making him rich, but keeping him roughly even, sometimes slightly ahead. Then, according to Kevin's own account, everything changed virtually overnight. His betting pattern stopped producing wins at the elevated bet levels. Former slot technicians report that this wasn't a coincidence. Here's the bombshell. Modern server-based slot systems have algorithms specifically designed to detect betting pattern changes. According to documentation from former employees, these systems analyze your bet sizing in real time, looking for mathematical progressions, system-based betting, anything that suggests you're following a strategy rather than betting randomly. The moment the algorithm identifies a pattern, particularly progressive betting systems like Martingale, the machine allegedly adjusts. Former technicians describe this as RTP reduction protocols for system players. These employees claim the software can flag pattern-based betting within 30 minutes of continuous play. Why would casinos fear this? Because players who manage their bankroll mathematically, who follow systems and strategies, tend to stay in the game longer. They don't burn out quickly. And according to these insiders, that's exactly what the algorithms are programmed to prevent. But here's where it gets really sneaky. There's another betting behavior these systems allegedly track, and this one targets players who think they're being clever about when to increase their wagers. Former employees tell the story of Diana, a player who'd learned that certain visual cues on slot machines, specific symbol combinations, near misses in particular patterns, sometimes preceded bonus rounds. Diana would play minimum bet most of the time, but when she saw these cues, she'd suddenly jump to maximum bet for the next several spins. She thought she was timing the machine, catching it right before it paid. According to former casino technicians, the surveillance system caught on within 2 sessions. Internal data allegedly shows that casino management systems track not just how much you bet, but when you increase your bets and why. Former employees claim the software identifies what they called opportunistic betting, players who raise their wagers based on perceived hot cycles or pattern recognition. And here's the punishment mechanism these insiders describe. Players flagged for opportunistic betting allegedly experience a 15 to 20% reduction in bonus. Trigger frequency. The technical explanation former technicians provided involves machine communication with central servers that can adjust volatility settings on a per-player basis. Diana discovered this the hard way. Over the next month, her max bet spins hit bonuses at dramatically lower rates than her minimum bet spins, completely inverting what she thought she'd figured out. The cruel irony hits hard. Smart bankroll management gets classified and punished as advantage play. Former employees explain that casinos don't want thinking players. They want consistent, mindless betting patterns. Variation suggests intelligence. Intelligence suggests threat. But here's where it gets really sinister, and what I'm about to tell you next happens even if you're winning. The system doesn't just punish smart betting, it punishes success itself. Let me tell you about Patricia. She was a retired high school teacher from Arizona, 63 years old, who'd saved up $3,000 specifically for a birthday weekend at a major Las Vegas casino. Patricia wasn't reckless. She'd played slots recreationally for years, understood she'd probably lose some money, and had set that 3,000 as her absolute limit. But something remarkable happened on her first day. She hit bonus round after bonus round on a game called Lightning Link. By the end of that first evening, she'd turned 3,000 into $11,000. She was ecstatic. Former casino employees say they see this pattern regularly. A player catches fire, wins significantly, feels invincible. Day 2 continued the streak. Patricia played several different machines, and they all seemed responsive. She hit another major bonus on Buffalo Gold, pulled down a hand pay on Ultimate Firelink, even won $1,800 on a progressive called Wheel of Fortune. By the end of her second day, she was up to $16,000 total. According to Patricia's own account, she felt like the luckiest person alive. She extended her trip an extra day, thinking her hot streak would continue. That's when everything collapsed. Day 3 was brutal. According to former slot technicians, this is where the invisible wall appears. Patricia couldn't hit a bonus to save her life. The same machines that had been so generous 48 hours earlier suddenly went ice cold. By midnight on day 3, she'd lost the entire $16,000 in winnings, plus her original $3,000, then pulled another $2,000 from her bank account trying to get back to even. She went home $5,000 in the hole. Former casino employees describe seeing this pattern constantly. Players who experience significant winning streaks suddenly hitting what these technicians call rebalancing protocols. Here's the technical claim that makes this so disturbing. According to documentation these insiders reference, player tracking systems monitor win-loss ratios over specific time periods. When a player exceeds certain profit thresholds, the account allegedly gets flagged for what internal systems label as correction cycles. The specific numbers former employees cite are shocking. Players who exceed $5,000 in profit within any 72-hour period allegedly get moved to what's called an 85% RTP tier. That's a significant reduction from standard play. The psychology behind this is calculated and cruel. The casino can't let anyone leave with substantial profits too many times. But they also know that a big winning streak creates hope, and that hope keeps players coming back. Patricia's hot streak on days 1 and 2 wasn't generosity. According to these former technicians, it was bait. The system let her win big enough to feel invincible, knowing the tracking algorithms would ensure she'd stay long, enough to lose it all back plus more. Before I reveal the most shocking punishment mechanism these former employees described, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this channel. Everything I'm sharing comes from documented internal reports and direct testimony from casino technicians who've actually worked inside these systems. If you're finding this information valuable, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had a hot streak that suddenly went ice cold? Because what I'm about to tell you next is so controversial that several former employees initially refused to discuss it on record. They describe a punishment system specifically targeting players who research games before playing them, players who hunt for specific bonus features, players who actually understand what they're doing. This targeting mechanism affects anyone who's ever looked up a slot machine online before playing it. And the way casinos identify and suppress these educated players will fundamentally change how you think about doing your homework before gambling. Let me tell you about Michael. He wasn't a casual player wandering the casino floor randomly pushing buttons. Michael had spent weeks researching slot machines online, reading forums, watching YouTube videos, studying which games offered the best bonus potential. He'd identified 3 specific high-volatility machines known for massive feature payouts: Dragon Link, Lightning Link, and Locket Link. His strategy was calculated. He'd play only these games, set a loss limit of $500 per session, and leave immediately after hitting a major bonus or reaching his loss threshold. For the first month, this approach worked remarkably well. He'd hit several significant bonuses, walked away with profits 4 times out of 7 visits, and felt like he'd cracked the code. According to former casino employees, that's exactly when the surveillance system identified him as what they internally classified as a feature vulture. Here's what these insiders claim happens to players like Michael. Casino management systems maintain dedicated databases specifically tracking customers who demonstrate educated game selection and bonus hunting behavior. Former technicians report that the software doesn't just notice which games you play, it analyzes why you're playing them. Are you wandering randomly, trying different machines based on visual appeal? Or are you deliberately targeting specific titles known for high bonus potential? The distinction matters enormously. According to documentation these former employees reference, players flagged as feature hunters allegedly experience bonus trigger frequency reductions between 30 and 40% compared to casual players on identical machines. The technical mechanism involves server-based slots adjusting individual feature trigger rates on a per-player card basis. Michael discovered this devastation firsthand. His bonus frequency on Dragon Link dropped from approximately once every 120 spins to once every 280 spins. Same machine, same betting pattern, completely different mathematics. Internal emails these former technicians describe allegedly discuss educated player mitigation strategies in explicit detail. The message becomes clear. Casinos don't want informed customers. They want ignorant ones. Anyone who researches slots online, who understands volatility and RTP, who makes deliberate strategic choices rather than impulsive emotional ones, gets targeted by these algorithms. But the punishment systems extend even further than individual casinos, tracking educated players. Former employees describe something that sounds almost impossible, yet according to their testimony, it's standard practice across major casino corporations. Let me tell you about Lisa. She'd been winning consistently at a casino in Mississippi, hitting bonuses regularly, showing profits over 3 consecutive months. She decided to take a weekend trip to Louisiana, where the same parent company operated a different property under a different name. Lisa had never played at this Louisiana casino before. She'd never even been to that city. But within 2 hours of inserting her player's card, she hit a cold streak that seemed statistically impossible. Former slot technicians reveal why this happened. Major casino corporations share player data across all their properties nationwide. Here's the shocking reality. Casino groups maintain centralized player databases that track your complete gambling history across every location they own. Win-loss records, betting patterns, game preferences, bonus frequencies, session lengths. Everything transfers automatically between properties. The technical infrastructure involves national player tracking, networks connecting hundreds of casinos under corporate umbrellas you'd never associate together. Different names, different states, same surveillance system. Lisa couldn't start fresh at that Louisiana casino because her Mississippi winning history had followed her across state lines. Legal gray areas make this possible because player consent gets buried in the card application at fine print nobody reads. A former technician's quote captures the philosophy perfectly. Corporate wanted profitable players, not winning players, and the data followed them everywhere. And if you think that's the worst of it, the final revelation will show you how deep this surveillance and punishment system really goes. Let me tell you about Thomas. He wasn't your typical slot player. Thomas was a professional poker player who occasionally played slots to relax between tournaments. His approach to machines reflected his poker discipline: careful game selection, strict bankroll management, predetermined quit points. He'd play for exactly 90 minutes, never chase losses, never get emotional. Former casino employees say Thomas represented something casinos had never really dealt with before. A player whose behavior was so disciplined, so calculated, that traditional tracking systems couldn't predict him. That's when the newest technology entered the picture. According to the most recent group of former technicians who've come forward, major casino corporations have begun implementing artificial intelligence and machine learning systems that go far beyond simple tracking. These systems don't just monitor what you do, they build predictive behavioral profiles that allegedly forecast what you'll do next. The technical sophistication these insiders describe sounds like something from a dystopian novel, but according to their testimony, it's operating right now on casino floors across North America. The AI analyzes thousands of data points simultaneously: bet timing patterns, hesitation duration before pressing spin, game switching frequency, how long you watch other players when you order drinks, bathroom break intervals, even how you physically interact with the machine's buttons and touchscreen. Former employees claim the software builds psychological models of individual players within 45 minutes of continuous tracked play. Here's where it becomes truly disturbing. According to these technicians, the prediction model forecasts when specific players will quit, and the system allegedly adjusts payout timing to prevent it. If the AI calculates you're about to leave after your next losing spin, the machine may deliver a small win, just enough to keep you seated for another cycle. The inverse is equally manipulative. If the algorithm predicts you'll continue playing regardless of outcomes, bonus frequency allegedly drops because the system knows it doesn't need to incentivize your continued play. You'll stay anyway. The most insidious aspect is the learning component. Former employees explain that these AI systems adapt to individual psychology in real time. If a particular player responds to near misses by betting bigger, the system learns that pattern and allegedly increases near miss frequency for that specific player card. If another player gets frustrated by long cold streaks and quits, the AI adjusts their experience to provide smaller frequent wins that maintain engagement. Thomas discovered this after casino personnel approached him with offers that seemed impossibly tailored to his preferences. Specific tournament buy-in amounts, hotel room features he'd mentioned once in passing 6 months earlier, meal comps at restaurants matching, his dietary restrictions he'd never disclosed. Former technicians confess they watched these systems convince people to stay who clearly wanted to leave. The machine understood them better than they understood themselves. Now you know what you're really up against. The house has always had an edge, but now you understand exactly how they guarantee it. This information comes directly from people who built and maintained these surveillance and manipulation systems. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more revelations about how casinos actually operate behind the technology. And let me know in the comments, which of these punishment mechanisms shocked you most? If you want to know the 3 specific machines where these AI systems are most aggressive, drop a comment below.